Life Audio.
This is a really special edition of the Get Your Brave On podcast. Wow, I'm literally getting my brave on. I set this goal to ride around the entire Lake Tahoe. I'm doing it. If I'm going to teach you how to set goals and chase them down, that means I got to do it too, right?
But it didn't exactly go according to my plans. You ever make a lot of mistakes while you're pushing towards a goal and you end up beating yourself up? These are the 4 things that will make you feel so much better. If you had a mess up or a failure too, this podcast is how to reframe that experience into the best thing that ever happened to you. Next, in this very special episode, part of it from my bike in Lake Tahoe of the Get Your Brave On podcast. If you're struggling right now, man, congratulations. I know that might sound weird, but let me help you reframe this struggle. Your current struggle could be the best thing that's ever happened to you, that if you play it right, it will propel you to the next level. That is my specialty, Brave Babe. I want to help you do that. I've been there. Divorce, job loss, relationship loss, and I've learned how to build myself back up, and I've learned how to press into the struggle because I know it is a growth opportunity instead of an ending. And I want to teach you that same thing. So I've developed this system for how to reframe struggle and turn it into growth. It's called my Brave Life Planner. It's my personal morning routine that I do every single day, guaranteed to boot up your bravery and to get your brave on all day long. Plus, you can get my free daily planner sheet to help you manage your life all in one place. Download it for free at getyourbraveon.info. You're about to feel so much better. I guarantee you, after listening to this episode number 26 of the Get Your Brave On podcast, beating yourself up, 4 ways to feel better right now. It started on this bike ride.
So I arrive in Lake Tahoe to do the trip that I've been planning for months, the dream that I've had for about 5 years, to ride my bike around the 75-mile circumference of Lake Tahoe, California. I arrive with no suitcase. All I'm wearing is a romper and platform wedges. So after a little bit of a freak out and the most calming, loving partner on the face of the planet, hold on, we're going down.
So I arrived in Tahoe wearing a romper and platform wedges and nothing else for the entire weekend, which was going to be bike riding 75 miles around Lake Tahoe, split up in 2 days. We were supposed to start early in the morning and I was beating myself up. How could I make such a dumb mistake? Thankfully, my boyfriend, Sean, said it's going to be okay. They'll be fine. We're here. We can find any kind of athletic gear we want in the world. We'll get up early in the morning and we'll get it done. We're supposed to start riding at 7 a.m., ended up riding by noon. Traffic was insane, and I realized there's no way I can record this podcast like I planned and have you understand. What a day. At the end of that day, I said, that is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I royally messed it up. I realized there was so much traffic noise around Lake Tahoe on Labor Day weekend through my AirPods that there's no way I could record the entire podcast and have you actually be able to listen to it. So I stopped it. Plus, I was climbing 2,000 feet and riding 40 miles in one day. I was exhausted and I knew nothing I said on this podcast made sense. But here's the reason why I'm really glad I royally messed up, because it gave me an even better lesson for me and for you on this podcast about what do you do when you're beating yourself up because you failed at something, and how do you reframe it and feel better right now. I came up with 4 ways to do this. The first way is to get out a sheet of paper, my friend. When you're in that moment of going, I just messed up this relationship, I just messed up my job today, or I just messed up as a mom today, help me. Get out that sheet of paper. You write down just a big line in the middle of it. You rank 2 columns. You make one of what is missing, the left side, the right side. I want you to make a column of what is there. So often we beat ourselves up because we look at our lives and we compare them to other people and we think, well, I don't have as nice of a home as that person. I don't have as much money. I don't have as a good of a relationship, or my kids are out of control. They seem perfect. But we know it's all fake, what we see online, right? So this exercise is very powerful. I had my mom do this recently. She's became a widow this year and struggling a lot with loneliness. And I'm trying to help her as much as I can. But when you make the column, what's missing and what's there, you realize you probably have a lot more in your life that is good than the stuff that is missing. We can take my mom as an example. She might write down what is missing, my husband and my life partner. But what is there, every day she gets to see her sister. Every day she gets to see my sister. They all live in Indianapolis next to each other, and her 2 grandsons. And all of that is there in her life. So she's missing one person, but she has 6 on the other column. You see what I'm talking about? For me, as an example on this bike ride, what is missing and what is there? What is missing was my suitcase and all of the bike gear that I bought at REI for this trip. But what was there was this incredible, loving partner that did not get mad at me for messing that up and was patient with me and gladly drove an hour out of the way for me to get some affordable gear so we could still pull off the bike ride. We didn't make it to day 2. We were so sore and exhausted after riding 40 miles the first day on the the north and east side of Lake Tahoe that we collapsed, and there was absolutely no way that we could ride the next day. I thought maybe I could do it, but Sean's like, no way, we're not doing this. So on my what's missing and what's there column, I could have been like, I failed at my goal to ride around the entire lake. I only did it 50%. So there's 50% of the lake that's missing for me. But what is there? The experience that we had, I'm 50% on the way. I did half of it. Maybe I can go back on another weekend and do the second half. So what? I didn't do it 2 days in a row. I'm still going to be able to go on all of the trails around the lake and accomplish that. And really what was most important was it was not checking off that experience of being able to post on Instagram that I rode around the entire lake with a screenshot from my Strava app. But what was more important was that I learned how to push through something really hard. And I was struggling, but I didn't give up. And my relationship that I'm working so hard to cultivate got better because of it. And it got better not because it was just all beautiful. It got better because of a struggle that we experienced together. Struggle can be really good. So that's your first way to feel better when you're beating yourself up. Make your list of what is missing and what is there. And then once you're done, I guarantee you there's going to be more stuff on the right-hand column of what is there. Fold it, divide it, throw away the what's missing, and put the what's there up on your mirror or in your car so you can be reminded every single day why you don't have to beat yourself up anymore and how beautiful your life is. Isn't that good? The second way to feel better after you're beating yourself up is to continue to push yourself. Okay. I did this crazy thing earlier in the summer. I was like, you know what? I have wanted to ride around Lake Tahoe for years. I'm finally going to do it. So I booked a place months in advance so that I could stay there for this ride. And I thought, I'm just going to work myself up. I wasn't exactly training. I didn't know what to do. I said, I'm just going to set it out there, set the goal. If I booked the cabin, I knew I would have to go if I paid for it on Airbnb. So push yourself that way. Find a goal when you're beating yourself up of a failure. Make sure that you don't wallow in that and pick something new. So for me, I'm going to pick another weekend that I can ride the second half. Shh, don't tell my boyfriend, Sean. He might kill me. I will do that. And I will train better for it. For that time, I'm taking the lessons of this failure and I'm going to pour it in the second time. Okay? And here's the beautiful thing of pushing yourself to set a goal, one that you don't know how you're going to reach. because you're pushing yourself and propelling yourself forward to a new level in life. My brave babe, if you feel stuck in life, this is the way to break free. If you just feel you're in this unending cycle of boredom and depression and anxiety and you can't seem to break out, set a goal that seems unattainable and start working backwards on how to attain it. You will have a lot of bumps in the road, but you are going to grow just because you set that goal and you worked on it. Whether you're successful at achieving it or not, like me, you still tried something. Setting a goal and not achieving it is not failure. Never setting a goal and never achieving anything, that is failure. So the second way, again, for you to feel better is to push yourself. Set a goal that you have no clue how to reach. And the deeper part of this is when you are brave enough to include God in this goal, not only do you get closer to God in the process, but you also give God an opportunity to show you how strong he can be in your life. You can say, God, I really need your help to get free from this addiction. Or God, I really need your help to get this relationship fixed. And when you lean to him and you ask him for help to achieve this goal, and you get even closer, you are creating evidence for even more bigger goals, future goals, that God will do what he says he can do in your life. 4 ways to feel better. We've got number 1, what's missing and what is there. Write that down. Number 2, push yourself, set a goal that you have no clue how to reach. The third way, when you're beating yourself up to feel better, is to understand that failure is not bad. If you're multitasking right now, lean into this. This is so important. Whatever it is that you're beating yourself up right now, I can guarantee you that it is going to be okay. And it is going to get better. Think about the weightlifter. If you've ever done any kind of weightlifting, you know that there's a certain point that you just can't move that dumbbell up anymore. If you're just doing some bicep curls, you're like, I can't do one more. That's actually really good. Competitive weightlifters celebrate finding their point of failure because they realize that weight that they just increase, like right now I can only do a 25-pound dumbbell for my biceps. But if I got that 30 and I was able to do 5 and I failed at the 6th one, I would celebrate that because that means I pushed myself to a new level. I didn't fail at 30 pounds. I would have failed if I wouldn't have grown and pushed myself to the 30 pounds. See what I'm doing here? That moment of failure that you're beating yourself up for is not failure at all. That is success, my friend. Celebrate this moment of failure and reframe it and say, God, wow, look what I was able to accomplish. Yeah, I tried something new at my job, or I'm working hard on this loving relationship. That's better than not trying at all, right? And you also found the areas that you need to work on. Let's go back to my bike ride. I know it's a simple explanation or example, but it is so powerful to me right now. I failed at training properly. I thought my little bike rides once a week would get me there. No way. I couldn't handle the altitude. I couldn't breathe. My lungs couldn't handle it. So what I learned is for the next time, I've got to specially train for the altitude. I have to do more climbs. And I have to just train and get myself to the next level. But I figured it out that it was possible for me. And we can take this physical example as something in all of our lives. Maybe it is a career goal that you have. And you're so afraid to put it out there and to tell anybody that you want to try this or start this business because you're afraid of failing. But that is failure, right? Not putting it out there and not trying. You've got to do it. Because again, when you lean on God, this is his opportunity to not just show you what he can do, but show everyone around you and in your life about how he can rebuild you. They need to see it. If you've had a failure recently and you're a mom like me, your kids need to see you bouncing back. Because when they have one, inevitably they will, they're going to remember, wait a second, I remember when mom lost her job and she got it together again. Or I remember when mom lost that relationship. Or I remember when mom was really struggling at her job, but she pressed in, she doubled down, she gave it a lot more focus and fixed some things that were going on, and she succeeded. So I'm going to do the same thing. You got this. And this is the prayer to say to help you. You're going to feel so much better after step 4. And the 4 ways to feel better, I call this shut the mouths of the lion. This is how to silence all those negative thoughts when you just can't stop beating yourself up for something in your life. Remember Daniel in the lion's den. Old Bible story, if you remember, the king at the time said no one could pray to any gods other than the king. Daniel was friends of the king. Daniel also was a very faithful and spiritual man. Some called him a prophet. He continued to pray to God. People in the village saw it. They were Karens. They tattled on him. And the king, even though Daniel was one of his beloved, had no other choice but to punish him for praying to another god besides the king. And for him, that was throwing him into the den of lions to his death. Here's where we find our lesson. Daniel prayed to be protected. Even the king wanted God to show up and say he is real to prove that his friend Daniel would be okay. And as you probably know, the story goes, the king woke up in the morning, went to the den of lions, and the lions were asleep, and Daniel was still alive, untouched. Daniel said to the king when the king discovered him, "My God has sent his angel and has shut the lions' mouths so that they may not hurt me, because I was found innocent and blameless before him." Okay, my friend, I know you are not going to be thrown into a den of lions because of this failure that you might be beating yourself up for right now. You're not. Because what do we know? Jesus died for us, right? So you are, no matter what, innocent and blameless. And when you cry out to God and you ask for his protection, like Daniel, you will get it. Maybe even it's not protection from other forces against you. Maybe you need to ask and cry out to God for protection from yourself. That's what I got out of this. When I was reading this the next morning after my failed bike ride, I said, God, shut the mouths of the lions in my own mind. Because I don't know about you, but I can be my own worst enemy. I compare myself to other people's lives. I compare myself to other single moms that are already remarried. I compare myself to other friends that have these fancy vacation homes when I'm renting this tiny little Airbnb. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. So I'm starting to pray, God, shut the mouths of the lions. Those that would criticize against me, and more importantly, the criticism that I put on myself. That is how to feel better when you're beating yourself up, is to pray that prayer. God, shut the mouths of the lions. Because those thoughts do not matter. The only thing that matters is what God says about you. And just like the reason why God sent an angel to Daniel, because Daniel was found innocent and blameless. But when you, my friend, have given your life to Jesus, he finds you innocent and blameless. All your past sins, all your present sins, and all your future sins are absolutely erased. So when you find yourself in a den of lions, whether it's a bad mistake like I made on a trip to go on a bike ride, or it is a bad relationship mistake, or it is a horrible thing at work, or whatever it is, you can believe and declare that God will send an angel to protect you. and shut the mouths of the lions. The lions that criticize you and the voices in your own head that keep beating yourself up. Instead, I'd like you to replace it. Again, go back to step number 1. Go back to what is there. We got rid of what is missing. Remind yourself of how good things are right now. Set a new goal. Okay, you failed at this one thing. It's time to set another one to propel yourself forward. Because true failure would be doing nothing about this. And then number 3, understand that this failure is not bad. Reframe it. Stop beating yourself up. This was a success because you just found out what you need to work on and how you can get better. And then finally, pray this prayer with me to shut the mouths of the lions. You want to just pray right now? Would that be okay? Father, I believe and declare right now that you are sending an angel and you are shutting the mouths of the lions that want to criticize us. Other people that want to beat us up for mistakes, and especially ourselves. Because you find us innocent and blameless. Help us to go throughout our day realizing that you love us, that your mercy applies to all of our failures. And you're the one that when we give our future plans to you, can truly make us successful. And then use us as examples in other people's lives about how to bounce back. And use us as an example of how powerful you are to forgive and recreate lives when we trust in you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I got one more bonus for you. So this podcast is about 4 ways to feel better right now. And there's one very important thing that I learned from this trip is that I have finally chosen the right partner. As I was biking around Lake Tahoe and everything was going wrong, I realized that my boyfriend, Sean, was not angry with me. And I realized that I had been used to that. I am recovering from a narcissistic relationship and marriage, and I have always lived on pins and needles, knowing that if I messed up or if I did something to make our life more complicated, I would pay for it just for human error. But this time I feel like I've broken the cycle. Thanks to a lot of therapy. My therapist, I remember she said, Amanda, you need to choose a boring guy. He's not going to be boring, but you're going to think he's boring because you're used to a narcissistic over-the-top relationship. And she was right. I'm so grateful that I've finally broken that cycle and chosen someone who has my back no matter what. And when I make a mistake, doesn't freak out or get angry or make me feel bad about myself, but instead helps me fix it. Hope it's okay that I share that with you. And I hope you can use me as your cautionary tale that if you are looking for a great relationship right now, that's the one to go for. Not the person that's going to use you to achieve his goals, but the person that is going to be right by your side when you royally mess up, that will help you put things back together and not beat you up for it. Thank you so much for listening to this very special episode of the Get Your Brave On podcast. If you want to go deeper, I would love to meet with you. I've got this new coaching program. If you're facing a plot twist in life and you are lost and you just don't know how to put your life back, I got you. I've got this Brave coaching program. Step by step, I've developed this plan to help you make a goal and achieve it. Whether it's a new job, a new relationship, or finding purpose when you feel lost, we're going to go step by step, one-on-one in my Brave coaching program for 5 weeks. And I promise your life will be completely changed when you go through this process. We meet one-on-one on Zoom. I would love for you to sign up for my Brave coaching program. Just go to getyourbraveon.info. And also, if this podcast meant something special to you, could you please help me out and leave a review? I've got this goal of getting to 10,000 downloads. And I realize the more reviews that you have on Apple, the more it pushes it out to other people to find it who are interested in faith-based podcasts and things like that. So if you could go to Apple Podcasts and scroll all the way down and leave a review, that would mean the world to me. And thank you so much. And maybe even copy the link to this podcast and share it with a friend, one that maybe is beating themselves up so much and needs a little encouragement. Just copy the link and send it in a text message and say, hey, listen to this. I think it might really encourage you today. And get your brave on. And I want to say thanks to my friends at lifeaudio.com. They've got all kinds of faith-based podcasts about prayer and parenting. They've got it all. Check it out, lifeaudio.com. Get your brave on.